Donald Trump's speech at Davos will be keenly watched by the global markets, keeping the traders and investors on edge. U.S. stock futures held steady after the major averages fell the day before due to rising tensions between Washington and Europe over U.S. President Donald Trump's ambition to take over Greenland. Over the weekend, Trump threatened to put extra tariffs on 8 European countries that oppose the proposal unless an agreement is made. He will meet with various stakeholders to discuss Greenland at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Amidst the rising global uncertainty, the rush for safe haven assets is pushing prices of gold and silver higher. Gold jumped to an all-time high of $4,859 a troy ounce, bringing the precious metals' one-year return to nearly 80%. Gold prices have risen 12% since the start of 2026. Silver prices have also soared to an all-time high on Wednesday, trading at $95, adding to big gains this year and putting the metal's 12-month return at 213%. Stock markets in Asia traded mostly red ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's speech in Davos, dragged down by a sharp overnight sell-off in the U.S. The volatility has been fueled by President Trump's threat to impose tariffs on European countries that opposed his proposal for the U.S. to purchase Greenland. And how are, in fact, markets reacting? Well, that is something we're going to, of course, be focusing on. In fact, let's quickly explain to you how the markets are reacting. What is the big market shakeup that is happening across the world? So let's tell you first about the BSE Sensex. Today at 3:30 p.m., that's the 21st of January, the Sensex, of course, stands at 81,909.63 points. Its previous close was at 82,180.47. That means it's, of course, down, although not by a significant margin, but by about a couple of hundred points. Currently, its 52-week high, of course, has been 86,159, and a 52-week low has been 71,425 of the stock market, the Sensex in India. If we talk about Nifty now, Nifty 50 as of today, 3:30 p.m., that is 21st January, 25,157.50 points is where things stand at. Its previous close was 25,232.50, so it's down today by just about under 100 points. Its 52-week high has been 26,373.20. The 52-week low of the Nifty index has been 21,743.65. Now let's tell you about Hang Seng. So the Hang Seng index stands currently at, as of 21st January, 4:09 p.m. GMT, 26,585.06 points. Its previous close was 26,487.51. So it's kind of hovering around the same mark, although it's slightly up, as you can see, by just about 100 points. Meanwhile, a 52-week high of this index has been 26,487.51. The 52-week low has been 19,260.21. Meanwhile, the Nikkei as of 21st January, that's today, 3:45 p.m. GMT, stands at 52,774.64 points. Its previous close has been 52,991.10. The 52-week high has been 54,487.32. 52-week low has been 30,792.74. Also now telling you now about KOSPI, that is the Korean Composite Stock Prices Index as of 21st January, 6:05 p.m. GMT. Things stand at 4,909.93. The previous close has been 4,885.75. Also, the 52-week high, of course, is 4,935.48. The 52-week low is 2,284.72 of this index. Now telling you about the SSE, that is the Shenzhen Stock Exchange in Shanghai. As of 21st January, 3 p.m. GMT, it stands at 4,116.94 points. The previous close was 4,113.65. The 52-week high is 4,190.87. 52-week low, of course, is 3,040.69. So as you can see, that's slightly, of course, higher, although hovering around the same mark. Of course, that is the Shenzhen Stock Exchange now in as well. 14,255.12 is where it stands. Its previous close was 14,155.63. This is as of 4:29 p.m. GMT. Today, 52-week high of this index has been 14,459.21. 52-week low has been 9,119.60. The Dow Jones now, the US Dow Jones, of course, as of 21st January, 4:45 p.m. GMT, stands at 48,488.59. The previous close was 49,359.33. The 52-week high has been 49,633.35. The 52-week low of this index has been 36,601.78. The S&P 500 now, another key market in the US, as of 21st January, that is today, 4:45 p.m. GMT, stands at 6,796.86 points. Previous close was 6,940.01. That means it's, of course, down there. 52-week high of this index has been 6,986.33. 52-week low has been 4,835.04. Now, telling you about NASDAQ. Well, NASDAQ as of today, 4:45 p.m. GMT, stands at 22,954.32. The previous close was 23,515.39. So in the red there, 52-week high is 24,019.99, and 52-week low stands at 14,784.03 points. The UK now, FTSE 100, FTSE 100 stands at, as of 21st January, that is today, 10:44 a.m. GMT, 10,122.97 points, hovering around the same figure as the previous close of 10,126.78. 52-week high of this index has been 10,257.75. 52-week low has been 7,544.83. The CSE 40 stands as of 21st January, 11:31 a.m. GMT at 8,053.32. The previous close was 8,062.58, and the 52-week high of this index has been 8,396.72. The 52-week low has been 6,763.76. The DAX now. That is, of course, the German stock market as of 21st January, 11:33 a.m. GMT, stands at 24,557.24. The previous close has been 24,703.12. 52-week high is 25,507.79. The 52-week low is 18,489.91. Euro Stoxx 50 stands as of 21st January, 11:37 a.m. GMT at 5,868.06. Previous close 5,892.08, and the 52-week high, of course, has been 6,053.68. The 52-week low at 4,540.22. So that's where things stand with regards to the stock market indices. Dr. Shailesh Bhattacharya is live with us, President CDEPR. A lot of volatility in, of course, the gold and silver markets across the world, also the stock markets worldwide, given Donald Trump's Greenland threats, also, of course, these European tariffs. Dr. Bhattacharya, now expectations on what he's going to say in Davos?
I think the expectation is that he's going to double down on Greenland. That's a clear expectation. And he has said so also in as many words. That is if he reaches Davos, given that he had a snag in his plane. So if he's not able to reach physically, maybe he will come in through a VC. But his message will be that he's doubling down on Greenland. And that clearly is very, very disruptive, which is why we see there is significant pressures on the market. We have seen the increase in the bellwether commodities, which is gold and silver, which are the ones which are really going up, which reflects an increasing sense of risk, where assets are being moved into something safe, and gold and silver are supposed to be safe. And therefore, this is really a period of turmoil that we're going through, and the markets don't really see an end to this. There doesn't seem to be a way out. There is no concrete option that seems to be coming up. Any outreach from the European powers and European nations to the US administration is being turned into more of a joke. Their private conversations are being exposed. And therefore, under that context, it gets very difficult to have geopolitical conversations between leaders of various nations. So there is no safe, if I can call it a safe place or a safe forum to have these conversations. And the US administration has been in every single opportunity that they're getting doubling down on their demand for complete control over Greenland. And the real operating word is complete control, because they already have control over Greenland from a military perspective. They are free to put in more military installations. So if the reason and the rationale for them to take over Greenland is military protection, that they've got access to. And so clearly the rationale is quite different. Also, the world is not seeing an end to what the US wants in terms of their hegemonic aspirations. Because one of the reasons they have put in for acquiring Greenland is the rare earth minerals. One of the reasons they acquired Venezuela was oil. Now, under those parameters, the next would be any other country. India is actually number three or number four in terms of rare earth minerals. So, should India be part of the US, and so on and so forth? Similarly, the new issue of the Chagos Island coming up. Therefore, there is no line being drawn. It's not just North America. The Chagos Islands are in the Indian Ocean, very, very far away from the US. And hence, the world does not see an end to the turmoil that's got unleashed. And we are seeing it on a continuous basis while the previous turmoils continue to happen, which is the Russia Ukraine war, also the destruction of the Gaza Strip, and a, a non-UN based entity being put up in Gaza called the Gaza Peace Board, again pushed by the US, and a membership fee of $1 billion being charged from those who are being invited to be part of that particular peace board, is very contrary to how the world has been run in the last 40, 50 years, especially after World War II. And hence, these are very difficult and unpredictable times that we are all walking into. And that is getting reflected in the stock market and the numbers that you just talked about.
Yes, indeed. And just taking that to you, Anjan Roy, former advisor, FICCI, on, of course, the volatility expectations to continue. The last 48 hours, of course, seen a lot of highs and lows, and that has been seen in the last few days and weeks, actually, with Donald Trump's statements on Greenland, particularly in the European markets. But Anjan Roy, now about Trump's speech in Davos. What are your expectations from it, and how do you believe global markets are anticipating what he's going to say there?
How can anyone anticipate Donald Trump? I mean, he's totally unpredictable. Today, he might say something which is, again, diametrically different. He might announce another plan for takeover some other country. So instead of what he's going to say in Davos, one might just as well talk about what he has already said, what he wants to do. That is taking over Denmark, continuing in Venezuela, and he has also indicated that Canada is part of USA. So, and he's setting up a board of peace for Gaza, which has been referred to. So, given all this, actually, it's a total change of the framework. The diplomatic arrangement that was prevailing has totally been shattered. Now, North Atlantic alliance between USA and Europe stands almost renunciated. And as you have seen yesterday, this EU chief has said that EU is concluding a very mother of all deals with India. Now, what is the urgency of this deal and announcement of this deal from Davos platform? It shows the kind of diplomatic shift or rearrangement which is undergoing. Now, this is all to apparently checkmate Russia and China. But Russia is also very much anguished and worried about what is happening. Russia does not want that in the name of security from Russia, USA is taking over Greenland. It is opposed to it because already Russia has suffered so much humiliation when Venezuela was taken over by USA. it was actually an attack on Russia and China by proxy, because both these countries had very major presence in Venezuela. Then Ukraine, these people are backing Ukraine. That's all right. And once again, Russia is being snubbed by USA. They have, for example, arrested a vessel which belongs to, apparently, it has a Russian flag and at least Russian crew. The Russian crew has not been released even so far. So Russia has also suffered humiliation at the hands of, but if there is one country which USA is scared of, and one person who does not care about Donald Trump, or who Donald Trump himself rather views with nervousness, is Vladimir Putin, because he has the matching destructive capacity
Yes.
that USA is claiming. So it's a competition in destruction.
Okay.
So the more you can destroy, the more is your might. And in that race, China has joined.
Do we expect more sort of comments on Greenland, more threats, a conciliatory tone, stuff on his own achievements in the US, Mitali? What are your expectations of this speech at Davos? How are markets likely to react to it? How do you believe market indices have been? What kind of cues have they been picking up from the US president's statements that have affected this volatility?
Absolutely, Uday. I mean, thanks a lot for bringing me into the discussion. I think, the points that Dr. Bhattacharya just made and Dr. Roy just made, I completely agree with them. I mean, at the end of the day, when we are going to, predict what Donald Trump is going to say, it's actually better to go to a fortune teller or, take out some cards and say it's all a matter of luck. But there are few things which I do think he's going to say. The first thing he's going to really imply, I mean, he may not say it out loud, is that today, if you want to make deals in the international economy, which in some senses the US still controls, then those deals are not going to be made based on some sort of diplomatic efforts or even based on a rules-based trading order. They are going to be based on what makes most economic sense to President Donald Trump. What is going to actually benefit the president is what is going to get approved. And that is the way in which countries who want to do business with the US have to conduct their business. And it is actually possible that he prefers attending Davos to actually attending the UN General Assembly, because Davos is actually where he can have a maximum amount of deal making, not only with countries, but also with organizations, with corporations, with even, municipal agencies and states, provinces, who all attend Davos with the idea that, this is about economic opportunities. And he is going to claim that with his presidency, these economic opportunities have become easier for people to get, easier for private sector to get. He has brought in deregulation. In his mind, he has opened up the entire private sector of the world to come and do business in the US in a way that, hasn't been possible before. On the other hand, I also think that he's going to make it very clear to the Europeans and to the Canadians. I think the speech that was made by Mark Carney just yesterday at Davos, and then of course also by the French president, they both have been going viral because Mark Carney has, gone in and said, "Let me be direct." And literally, quite openly criticized the US administration without even naming the US once in his speech. But I don't think that President Trump is going to be so subtle. I do believe that he's going to be quite open and even more direct than Mark Carney, and make it clear to the Europeans
Yes.
as well as to the Canadians that the US is going to come for Greenland.
Now, coming back across to you on this, Dr. Bhattacharya, has it been mostly the Europe markets which have been seeing the kind of volatility, or is it global indices really? Because obviously the US president's statements do affect the entire global world order. These tariffs may just be for Europe, but other markets also take a cue, other indices also take a cue, isn't it?
No, as you were showing the numbers, it's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? Because you see, China has actually, the Chinese market has reacted positively, uh, and possibly because China is clearly entering into a very, very dominant position from a global trade perspective. And clearly, it seems that they will be fishing in troubled waters, if I can put it in that manner. The US tried to shrug off imports from China. They were not able to do so. Europe has got into a very nice deal with China, and most of the world is continuing to buy from China, and they have a trade deficit, a positive trade deficit, or a trade surplus, which is more than the size of many economies of the world. So, if their trade deficit was a country, it will be the 18th largest country in the world, which is the trade surplus that China has. So, that's the kind of benefit that China has, and therefore, their index seems to be going up. Having said that, well, China has its own internal problems from an economic perspective. I'll not get into that. The fact of the matter is that there are other factors at play, and therefore some of the economies, the stock exchange has been reacting positively because of local requirements, because of certain other factors. But
Yes.
if there is a thing as a global stock exchange, that definitely has taken a hit.
Okay. More breaking news, in fact, now